Before we go further, Sophie, I want to slow things down a little. When we talk about September 11, we often talk about numbers, dates, and names. But behind all of this, there were people.
Yes, ordinary people. People who woke up that morning thinking it was just another normal day. Parents, workers, tourists, firefighters.
Some people were having breakfast. Some were on the subway. Some were already in meetings.
And in a few minutes, everything changed.
Many survivors later said the same thing. Time felt strange, very slow, but also very fast.
Yes, some people said they heard the noise before they understood what was happening. Others smelled smoke. Some felt the building shake.
For people watching from outside, it was unreal.
It looked like a movie, but it was real life. And that made it even more terrifying.
Let's talk about the emergency response. What happened after the first impact?
Firefighters, police officers, and medical teams arrived immediately. Many of them knew the danger, but they went inside anyway.
They climbed stairs filled with smoke.
Yes, some firefighters climbed dozens of floors carrying heavy equipment. They were trying to save people they had never met.
Many of them did not come back.
No. And that is something people should never forget. Their courage is part of this story.
After the towers collapsed, the city was covered in dust.
New York looked like a war zone. Streets were silent, phones did not work, people walked for hours to get home.
Airplanes were grounded across the country.
Yes, for the first time in history, all civilian flights in the U.S. were stopped.
How did Americans feel in the days after?
There was fear. People were afraid another attack could happen at any moment.
And also anger.
Yes, a lot of anger. And confusion. People asked, why us? How did this happen?
Flags appeared everywhere.
On houses, cars, windows. It was a moment of national unity.
But at the same time, some communities suffered.
Yes, many Muslims and people who looked Middle Eastern were unfairly targeted. Some were insulted, attacked, or suspected.
That shows how fear can change behavior.
Exactly. Fear can make people forget their values.
Let's go back to the global impact. How did the rest of the world react?
Many countries expressed solidarity. Messages of support came from Europe, Africa, Asia, everywhere.
But geopolitics changed.
Completely. Security became the priority. Airports, borders, surveillance, intelligence sharing, all increased.
And wars followed.
Yes, the war in Afghanistan began shortly after. Later, other conflicts were justified in the name of fighting terrorism.
Some people supported these actions. Others criticized them.
That's true. Some believed it was necessary for security. Others believed it created more instability.
Now, let's talk more about Osama bin Laden's years in hiding.
So, for nearly 10 years, he became a symbol. Some saw him as the face of terrorism. Others used his image for propaganda.
He released video messages sometimes.
Yes, those videos were analyzed carefully. His voice, his clothes, the background, everything mattered.
How did intelligence agencies track him?
Mostly through people close to him. Couriers, communication patterns, small details.
So not technology alone.
No. Human intelligence played a major role.
When his location was finally confirmed, the decision was not simple.
No, there were risks. Political risks, military risks, diplomatic risks.
The operation itself was very short.
Yes, it lasted less than an hour, but it was the result of years of work.
After his death, the announcement was made publicly.
Crowds gathered in some places, especially near Ground Zero and the White House.
People felt relief.
Yes, but also exhaustion. Many said, this doesn't bring back the victims.
And that's important. Justice does not erase pain.
Exactly. Closure is not the same as healing.
Let's talk about Ground Zero today.
So today, there's a memorial. The names of the victims are engraved. Water flows where the towers once stood.
It's a place of silence.
A place to remember, not to celebrate.
Why is it important to talk about this tragedy years later?
Because memory fades, and when memory fades, mistakes repeat. Young generations did not live this moment.
Yes, for them it's history, but history shapes the present.
What can we learn as individuals?
To question violence, to resist fear, to protect human dignity.
And to separate extremists from ordinary people.
Very important. Blaming entire cultures or religions is dangerous.
If you could say one thing to listeners, what would it be?
Listen carefully to history, not emotionally, but thoughtfully.
For me, I would say empathy is stronger than hatred.
And dialogue is stronger than silence.
You know, Sophie, sometimes I think about the silence after everything happened.
Yes, the silence is something many people talk about. After the noise, the sirens, the chaos, there was a strange calm.
Almost unreal.
Exactly. People walking covered in dust, not speaking, just looking at each other.
Some survivors said they didn't even realize they were alive at first.
Yes, their bodies were moving, but their minds were frozen.
Trauma does that.
It does. And trauma doesn't disappear after a few days.
Many people suffered long after the attacks.
Firefighters, rescue workers, families of victims, and even people who only watched it on TV.
Some developed anxiety.
Others had nightmares, depression, or fear of public places.
The image of the planes became impossible to forget.
Yes, for many years, flying felt different. Airports felt different.
Security changed everything.
Long lines, body checks, restrictions. People accepted them because fear was still present.
Fear can make people accept things they would normally question.
That's a very important point.
Do you think the world ever returned to how it was before?
No, I don't think so. September 11th created a before and an after.
Especially in international relations.
Yes, trust between countries became fragile. Suspicion increased.
And words like terrorism entered daily language.
Before that, many people had never thought deeply about it.
Let's talk about media coverage. How did television influence people's emotions?
The images were shown again and again. The planes, the collapse, the panic.
It was overwhelming.
Yes, for some people, it became traumatic because they relived it repeatedly.
Children saw things they were not ready to understand.
That's true. Many parents later regretted leaving the TV on.
Schools also changed how they talked about safety.
Yes, emergency drills became more common.
Even architecture changed.
Buildings became more secure. Design included evacuation plans, reinforced structures.
It's interesting how a tragedy can influence so many aspects of life.
Not just politics or war, but psychology, culture, education.
Music and movies also changed.
Yes, for a while, some films were delayed or edited. Certain images were avoided.
People needed time to process.
Grief takes time, and collective grief even more.
When Osama bin Laden was killed, did it change that grief?
For some, it brought relief. For others, it reopened wounds.
Some asked, was this the end?
But history showed it wasn't. Extremism doesn't depend on one person.
That's a hard truth.
Yes, ideas can survive even when leaders disappear.
Which is why education matters.
Understanding why people become radicalized is more effective than only reacting with force.
That requires patience.
And empathy, not agreement, but understanding.
Sometimes people confuse those two.
Yes, understanding does not mean supporting.
As we talk now, years later, emotions are calmer.
But the responsibility remains.
To remember correctly.
And to avoid simplifying complex history into good versus evil only.
Because reality is more complicated.
Always.
I'm thinking about younger listeners now, those who were not born yet.
For them, this podcast might be the first time they really hear the story calmly.
Without shouting.
Without propaganda.
Just humans talking to humans.
That's the goal.
And maybe that's the best tribute to the victims.
To choose understanding over hatred.
To choose memory over forgetting.
And dialogue over silence.
You know, Sophie, sometimes I wonder how history books will describe this period in 50 or 100 years.
I think they will talk about fear, but also about choices. The choices societies made after being hurt.
Choices between security and freedom.
Yes, and that balance is never easy.
Many laws were passed very quickly.
Because people wanted protection. They wanted answers.
And politicians were under pressure.
Exactly. When a nation is wounded, decisions are often emotional.
Do you think fear was used sometimes?
I think fear was present everywhere. Whether it was used intentionally or not depends on perspective.
Fear can unite, but it can also divide.
Yes, it can create us and them,
That division affected communities deeply.
especially immigrants, Muslims, and people who looked different,
Some felt they had to explain themselves constantly.
or prove they were peaceful, which is unfair.
That must have been exhausting.
Very. And painful.
At the same time, many people also reached out.
Yes, interfaith dialogues increased. People tried to understand each other more.
So even in darkness, there were moments of light.
Always. Humans are complex like that.
Let's talk about memory. How do societies remember tragedy?
Through ceremonies, monuments, education, and storytelling.
Storytelling like this podcast.
Exactly. Stories keep events alive without freezing them in anger.
Anniversaries can be emotional.
Yes, every year the names are read. Bells ring, silence is observed.
Silence speaks loudly.
Sometimes louder than words.
What about the families of victims?
For them, time moves differently. The world moved on, but their loss stayed.
Some waited years for answers.
Yes, about remains, about investigations, about responsibility,
Justice is slow.
and sometimes incomplete,
That can create frustration.
and sadness.
Do you think forgiveness is possible in such cases?
For some individuals, maybe, but forgiveness cannot be demanded. It's personal.
And forgetting is not forgiveness.
No, forgetting erases lessons.
That's dangerous.
Very.
When people say never forget, what does that really mean?
It means remembering responsibly, not using memory as a weapon.
But as a guide.
Yes, to avoid repeating mistakes.
Looking back, do you think the world understood the roots of the problem?
Partially. Some focused only on punishment, not prevention.
Prevention requires education, opportunity, and dialogue,
And long-term thinking.
which is harder than reacting.
Much harder.
Sometimes people want simple answers,
But history rarely gives simple answers.
only complex ones.
Exactly.
As we keep talking, I realize this tragedy is not just about one day.
No, it's about everything that came before and everything that came after.
And we are still living in the after,
Yes, even today.
which means our responsibility continues,
To talk calmly, to think deeply.
and to refuse hatred,
Always.
because hatred only creates more loss,
And more silence.
silence that hides pain.
Pain that eventually comes back.
That's why conversations matter,
That's why we keep speaking.
even when it's uncomfortable.
Especially when it's uncomfortable.
We're getting closer to the end of this long reflection.
Yes, and if listeners stayed with us, it means they chose understanding,
And patience.
which the world needs more than ever.
Let's take a moment
A quiet moment,
to remember all innocent lives lost.
and to hope for a future with less fear.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for listening with your heart and your mind,
We'll continue these conversations,
because learning never ends.
and neither does responsibility.
Until next time.
Take care of one another.